Hey everybody, I'm Curtis.
And I'm Hannah.
And this is Love at First Fright.
We meet again, weary traveler. Hello.
What?
I don't know. I just fucking sue a girl for trying to get the conversation started.
No, it's good. It's good.
I'm an old woman.
And am I the traveler?
It's up to interpretation. Perhaps the listener is the weary traveler. But if you want to be the weary traveler...
No, hold on, wait. No.
Are you weary?
I mean, yeah, a little bit.
Have you been traveling?
Not really.
Well, then
Just
maybe
kinda tired.
it wasn't addressed to you then, huh?
Okay, hold on. Do it again.
Hello, weary traveler.
Hello. I'm not the traveler. I'm also saying hello to the weary traveler.
Yes, this is my sister.
Hi.
Her name is Sri Lanka.
Yep. That's what they call me.
Anyway,
And
come to our improv show.
We're quitting this.
It's gonna be more of that.
This is gonna be that for 2 hours. It's a long show.
Yep.
And there is a through line.
Yes, and you can't come in halfway because you won't get the stuff that happened.
And
earlier.
we don't do that thing where we take like audience suggestions.
No, we just kind of...
We're just up there kind of just doing it off the rip, you know?
Yeah, and people do pay.
Well, they have to.
Yeah, and
I wouldn't do it.
We're clear that we don't offer refunds up front,
Yep.
so that's really on them.
Yep. Anyway. Hi.
Hey.
It's we're hanging out.
We're back.
We're back. We're having a good time.
Yep. We're enjoying some carbonated beverages.
Yeah.
We're in the studio, which is what we call our second bedroom.
Yeah.
That's filled with our junk.
Yeah, it's like half junk, half
computers. One.
Well, that's going to be more than 100%.
Yeah.
So.
Well, okay. Well, then in your words, is Steve junk or is she computers?
Computers. Next question.
Moving along. Oh.
She's powered by an ancient and yet somehow new technology. It's like a time
sort
traveler.
Of an alien situation. Ancient aliens. Yeah.
She helped them the pyramids. I think. I don't know.
With math.
With math. She's really good at math.
Yeah.
No. We've been, just doing stuff. We've been
working.
Mostly working, but also a lot of planning.
Yeah, we've been doing some wedding planning because we're getting married in December.
Yep.
Whoop, whoop.
So it's a lot.
Yeah.
That's been going on. Everyone who is married, I think, kind of tells you it's a lot.
Yeah.
And then you not getting married yet or about to enter the process of the planning probably think can't be that much.
Yeah.
And then it is.
Yeah. And we're doing something that's pretty low key.
Yeah. So sometimes I think about that we should have submitted to be on, was it 4 Weddings? Is that the show?
Yeah, I don't think they make it anymore, but
bring it back.
Yeah.
Let us be on there.
Great TLC show where people put their weddings up as a competition to see whose wedding is the best.
I never watched it when it was on the air, but we watched a little bit of it.
Yeah, reruns.
It was just over a year ago
It's
now
been a while.
that we watched it, but it was pretty insane, some of the weddings that were on there. We obviously really like horror stuff, but there was one where
they had a Jason impersonator.
There was but it But it was like a half-assed one.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, anybody who does it's just going to be a guy dressed up in, like, a Jason Voorhees outfit, which is fine, whatever. But then, like, they routinely were showing shots of the dude, like, sitting down, just, like, on a shitty metal folding chair and, like, texting somebody.
Yeah. He was probably just somebody's cousin.
Yeah, or, like, whatever. They paid him, like, $100, and he just did, like, a couple of poses, and he was like, whatever.
Yep.
But I'm like,
that's how we got the idea for our Jason impersonator.
We got 2 Jason. No, we got a Jason impersonator and a Freddy impersonator. Yeah. And we will be recreating the entirety of
Jason vs. Freddy.
And both Friday the 13th, every movie, and Nightmare on Elm Street, every movie, in the lead up to... So
our wedding is actually taking place over a fortnight.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's an event, and the audience participation is required. Everyone's going to be playing different characters.
Right. And you better put it all into it, including our grandmothers.
You don't get a wedding favor if you don't.
Yeah.
So, them's the rules. That's the rules, and it's our wedding, so we get to decide. That's just how it is.
Yeah.
Everything I know about weddings, that is how it works.
Yeah.
You say a thing, and the people have to do it.
They have to do it.
Yeah, legally they're required to do it. So anyway, it's been mostly that. It's been like a lot of that. Mm-hmm. But we've carved out some time.
Yeah.
Finally, to get back into movies. We also got like really sick.
Yeah.
In there. So that wasn't fun.
No.
But anyway, but we've been trying to knock out some more movies. We've just been like randomly watching a few, and the one we're talking about today is one that we needed to cross off of my top 100 horror movies list thing poster that I have. Which it got me thinking, like, how did they decide that?
I don't know. Maybe it's like IMDb.
Yeah.
IMDb.
Maybe like IMDb's list.
Yeah. I wasn't sure if I was messing up.
ICBM.
Gross.
BMI.
Hateful. It's probably just some random ranking of like.
I'd be curious.
Yeah, I don't know.
To see it.
Well, it's interesting because I feel like a lot of those lists, they do have a fair amount of crossover.
Yeah.
Because the classics are always the classics. Yeah. But then sometimes it's like, well, why did that get added? Mm-hmm. You know?
Yeah. I wonder how often they like
update that thing.
Update it, or did they like one and done and like, I'm just gonna sell this one for
all
eternity. I really like it because this one, like, they make a lot of different versions of these, although I think the one I have is like a more popular rendition of it where it's like a scratch off for it, cool. Which I think is really cool because it's interactive. Like, it puts the title on there so you know which one to go watch, but then you get to uncover a little bit of art.
And it does the little not necessarily the poster, but some kind of image associated,
usually like a pretty like famous image from the movie. Sometimes it is the poster. But yeah, we actually scratched off a couple of them recently because Fright Night was on there and we watched that as well, which was cool. We've done some non-podcast related. Well, it's because we just like horror movies, you know? What was that? What was that spider one?
Oh, Sting. That came out last year. It was a, Blumhouse.
Oh, I forgot it was Blumhouse.
I think it is. Well, I would assume based on how it...
I gotta hold on. I gotta know. I want to know if we're gonna drag Blumhouse, accurately.
Okay. I'll pause.
Yeah, pause. Hold on. Blumhouse. Sting is a Blumhouse.
Yeah. So you could tell. Yeah. Blumhouse, more like Blumhouse. Am I right? Got him.
Right after suffering the flop of Mithrigan 2.0.
Yeah, which we haven't seen yet.
No.
But maybe we'll watch it for the pod. Who knows?
Anyway, but we did watch a very well-regarded movie from...
And one I love.
One from 2005.
2005.
It is called The Descent.
The Descent is 2005 British horror movie. It was written and directed by Neil Marshall. There is also a sequel to it that's connected, but it wasn't like written and directed by the same guy. I think it kind of got taken over. But it's a great movie. This was your first time watching it, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think I've seen like little snippets before, but not enough to like know anything that was going on. You know?
I have seen it a couple of times. It's one I return to periodically, and I can say, it does have a twist. So obviously that's sort of spoiled for you if you've seen it before, but it holds up regardless. Having rewatched it, it's still just as tense and scary. So it's a good one. I would definitely recommend checking it out.
Yeah, it's a fun ride.
I'll give you a little taste of what it's about. So kind of the story here is a year after a severe emotional trauma, Sarah goes to North Carolina to spend some time exploring caves with her friends. After descending underground, the women find strange cave paintings and evidence of an earlier expedition, then learn that they are not alone.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's kind of the prompt. It's a cave dwelling movie, and honestly it very much just feels like survival horror. Like the scares are just like the claustrophobia of being in caves and stuff in the beginning. But it does take a turn.
Yeah, watching it, so I was reading about like there's like a creature element to this. Sure. So they're not just in the cave and dealing with the cave, although that is a significant portion of it. Yeah. 50% of it, if not more. And that part's great. I was reading about the creature design because they do end up having to deal with these like what they refer to them as with the creatures are like cavemen that like never came out of the cave kind of a thing, and they just kind of evolved.
Yeah, they're called the crawlers.
Yeah, and I say they, I mean the people who created the creatures, not the women. I don't think they call them anything.
No. They're just like, what the fuck's that?
Yeah, they mostly just call them as they're being like murdered by these things. Right. Anyway, but the design of them is interesting. Like they ended up coming up with like a whole like well thought out how the society of them works. Mm-hmm. Like they're like sexually dimorphic. Yeah. So like the males of them are bald, but the females have like long, thick black hair, and like there's like a whole they like thought all of this out. And I'm like, I don't know that it was necessary, but I guess it works. So like
it enriched the experience.
It did, but
shout out to the makeup artist who created them, Paul Hyatt.
Yeah.
It's effective.
Yeah.
It's creepy stuff.
They're gross too.
They're
like,
very gross.
A couple of scenes where like there's like these long silences as like the women are trying to like hide and not be found by these things because they're blind because they live underground, but they have like really good smell and hearing. And like there are scenes where like they're standing right over them and they have like this weird green spit or whatever, and it
dripping and drooling.
It's really gross looking. But as weird and cool as these creatures are, I actually don't find them that scary. I guess like watching it, I was like they're fine, just as far as like weird creatures go, and they're cool. But for me, the actual like scary parts of the movie are just like being in the cave all.
It's very scary.
But I mean I kind of come from a place of like, one of the really cool things about exploring caves or spelunking is that it's like 100% optional. Like you don't, nobody has to do this,
and yet they do.
And every time you never hear about somebody exploring a cave and it going well.
No, I mean, I'm sure it happens. It's unremarkable.
Yeah, the only times you ever hear about anybody having to do with a cave is it's collapsed and they're trapped in there. They tried to do some weird bend thing and got stuck in like the worst possible imagined like yoga pose from hell.
Right. Or they like randomly encountered water and now they're drowning because they can't get out.
Yeah. So... Yeah. I honestly think a lot of the survival parts in terms of like we're trapped in this cave and dealing with just the cave, creatures aside, is like equally, if not more terrifying than anything with the creatures.
Definitely. Definitely.
So to kind of like back up with this, the way the movie starts out is there's the, like you said about the traumatic.
Right, kind of an understatement.
It is an incredible understatement. And this did genuinely surprise me because I'd never seen this part. I'd seen the ending, which we'll talk about in a little bit because there's like a little, fun fact about the ending there. But I've seen the ending a couple of times. Normally because you're watching it and I happen to walk in like right when it goes to happen. But the beginning of this movie, they're doing like whitewater rafting, and there's a scene where one of the main characters, her name is Juno, like shares a moment with Sarah, who is our final girl. Her husband. After they get out of the water. And I saw it and immediately I was like, okay, they're having an affair. I don't know anything else about this movie, and I don't know when it's going to come up, but it is going to come up. And it did. Yes, it did. But anyway, so this traumatic event is Sarah's like driving her, or is the husband driving? The husband's driving. Yeah, he's driving
British,
them.
So they're on the other side.
Yeah, you're right. That's why I was fucked up about it.
Yeah.
But he's driving them back home, and there's like this.
It's Sarah, her husband, and their young daughter in the back seat.
Yeah, and he's being like weirdly, distant and kind of cold.
Yeah.
And she's like, "What's going on?" Kind of a deal. And then does he actually say like we need to like have a conversation or like talk or something?
Yeah.
But there's like a really long awkward pause when this happens, and you can see kind of like a car start to come. And I said during this, I was like, "Hey man, keep your eyes on the road," because he's just like staring over at her.
Yeah, they're having a look.
And then they slam into another vehicle, which is carrying a bunch of
copper pipes.
For reasons.
For this reason.
And the pipes end up killing both the daughter and the husband in this accident, and Sarah survives it. And so that's the big traumatic thing. And then we jump like a year later.
It's a year later.
Where she's recovered, and now her friends, specifically Juno, I think, is trying to put together some big outing with all of the girls.
Right. Because we kind of get some background. So there's Juno, and there's Beth, who is the other friend who was kayaking. And then they have two other friends, Sam and Rebecca. And we get some background that, like, they've been gal pals for a long time, and they're all, thrill seekers. They're very active. They're always outdoors. So it looks like they regularly will plan these trips to go do different things, kayaking or bungee jumping or cave exploring, whatever it might be. And so Sarah and Beth are going to this trip, and the movie takes place in North Carolina, which is funny because it's filmed in Scotland.
Yeah.
But they were like, no, it's in North Carolina though.
Yeah.
So they are headed to this venture, and Beth is trying to be supportive, being like, oh, you don't have to do this if you don't want to. And Sarah kind of makes a remark of like, oh, I know, but how would we tell Juno, like, her heart is set on this or whatever?
Which to me is wild.
Yeah.
Like, why are we doing this for Juno?
Juno's a bad friend.
Juno's a terrible friend.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I get, besides the whole having an affair thing.
Right.
Right? Like, that is part of it. So, like, Juno's also grieving. But, like, kind of shit.
Kind of shit. Yeah, you don't really get to use that. Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's crazy.
Yeah, but... Anyway, the way that this has kind of been sold to Sarah by Juno is that it's going to be like a low-level cave. So it's going to be like a nice, easy transition back into their activities. So the whole gang is back together, these longtime friends, and then Juno has also brought along her new friend Holly, who's also like a thrill seeker. She seems a bit like younger and a little more wild than the rest of them. But they stay in a little cabin and then head out in the morning to go to this cave, which also, I just have to say, presumably at least one of the vehicles that they used to get to the cave was a rental.
Yeah.
They were driving with reckless abandon, like speeding through backwoods.
Yeah.
Just essentially off-roading.
I don't know who was driving the rental, but Sarah was definitely driving one of the vehicles.
She was, yeah.
And she was driving it with like reckless abandon, and I was like, hey, that's insane. Because
remember the car trauma we have? Remember that?
That's actually... Everything else, fine, whatever, you gotta go on your journey. This is maybe the craziest thing that you've done.
Yeah, little wild. But the whole time I was just thinking, like, wow, you guys have fucked up this little SUV that you rented, and, like, they're gonna be pissed.
Yeah.
But they eventually get to the site, and then, you know, they drive as far as they can, but they have to hike. So we get a long montage of them going, and when they do eventually reach it, it's actually really cool. I don't know where this exists in reality, or if it was a set, because I know they did a combination of like outdoor shots, and then the cave things were like a set creation that they made in a studio.
Yeah.
But it's really pretty. It's like a big opening that they have to... What would you call that? Rappel, yeah. They have to rappel down into, and then it's like this beautiful cave with, you know, you can see the sun shining in and water dropping.
Which I think that part, great.
It was beautiful, and...
It's like 100 feet down.
It's like a big cavern, basically.
Yeah, that's cool. And then one of them is like, oh, I found the tiniest gap imaginable. It's through here.
Exactly. But it's funny because... Even, like, you know, Juno says this is going to be, like, a nice, easy thing. And I'm like, I don't know that rappelling 100 feet down into a cavern is what I would call a nice, simple cave exploration.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
A nice, simple cave exploration is, like, it's a big opening, and it is...
You just walk right in.
The same level that you're currently on.
Right. That's what my nice, easy looks like. Maybe theirs is a little different.
Yeah, they do things a little different.
We do things a little different around here. They're in the South. Anyway... so immediately getting into the cave scenes, and it's completely pitch black in there right away. So you already feel the, like, claustrophobia and everything. They have to use flares to light up the first chamber that they're in, and it automatically made me nervous as someone who's never
this is what I'm
been
saying,
in a cave and
is
hopes
like,
to not.
The creatures aren't even there for, like, the first... I don't even know how long.
Yeah, pretty long.
Pretty long into the movie. And, like, the first, like, real thing that they encounter that is scary is... Again, they found this impossibly small passageway. Tunnel. That, like, you have to do the worm through to, like...
They have to, like, take their backpacks off and, like, push them ahead.
Yeah, and I'm like, stop. Like, what are we doing? But anyway, they're doing that. But, like, Sarah is the last one to go through. Mm-hmm. And I guess she has, like, a panic attack while she's in the middle of it. And Beth ends up coming back to be like, oh, I'm gonna come get you. Which, it's weird because the tunnel is simultaneously so small that they have, like, Sarah struggling to, like, fit through it. Mm-hmm. But then Beth is also like, I'm turning around to get you. And she somehow...
Well, she didn't turn around. She was already out. And
I thought she turned around.
No.
Oh, well, whatever.
No.
Either way. But she's in it, and Sarah's in it, and she starts having a panic attack. And then she gets calmed down, but then, like, basically as soon as she calms down, they hear, like, a crack, crumbling, whatever, and the tunnel they're in is about to collapse.
Yes.
And so they have to, like, you know, rush through it, and they leave the backpack, I guess, or bag of supplies, climbing equipment, in the collapse. And so they get stuck in this thing. And I'm like, again, we didn't have to go...
Right, we never needed to go in.
But this is also where we find out, like, kind of the twist...
This
or
is
shortly.
The first twist of it.
And it's that, so, like, when they were traveling to the caves, Juno has said that they're going to whatever cave system that they're going to.
Yeah, it has a name, but I can't remember what it
Whatever, we're not cave people, and I don't care. It's not that important.
Yeah, don't go to it.
Yeah, hey, don't go to any cave. Pro tip, you'll never get taken by weird cave monsters if you're not in a cave. Don't go in the cave. You also won't be in, like, a cave collapsing if you don't go in a cave.
Correct.
All of the terrible things that happen in caves happen almost exclusively within caves.
Yeah.
So just don't go in them and you can avoid a lot of it.
Yeah.
Anyway, but Juno says they're going to this one cave and one of them's reading in the map of the cave because it's been charted out and everything like that. But we find out after this collapse happens, one of the women is like, did you bring the map with you? And then Juno's like, it wouldn't help. And they're like, what do you mean it wouldn't help? And she's like, well, we're not actually in that cave.
Right.
And she took them to a completely different cave system.
That's like new and uncharted.
And this poses like a couple of problems. One, because it's uncharted, they don't have a map of it, so they don't know. Like, normally, like, if like a tunnel collapsed and you were inside of it, you might be able to look at a map if you were in the cave system you were supposed to be in.
Right.
And be like, that's no problem. There's another way out over this way. We just have to go through this route. Well, and that's
exactly why she brought it up. She was like, oh, I remember when I looked at it that there were like 3 exits or whatever.
Exactly. The other problem is when I'm going to speak through this with like a not enough experience because I don't do this kind of stuff, but like typically when people go on these kinds of things, if you're being responsible about it, you log some kind of like travel plan with people.
Yes.
So basically say, hey, me and this group are going to, I think cicadas are trying to like
fucking break our window
they're here. They found us. No. To say, hey, we're going to be in this cave doing this thing. It should be this long. If we don't check in, something is wrong and you need to come find us, kind of a thing. And the problem is one of the other women logged that travel thing, but for the cave that they were told they were going to.
Right.
So even if they don't check in, which they won't,
right,
and they do go to look for them, they were never even at that cave, so they have no idea where they are.
They're gonna literally spend time going through a cave that
they're not in.
They were never in.
So it is obviously like a lot of things wrong with this. And then you really start to get like, oh, Juno really is not a good person.
Right. Well, and she tries to justify it by being like, oh, I did it for you. I know you would have been, so bored to death in that, beginner cave or whatever. And it's like, don't fucking put this on Sarah.
Yeah.
Sarah didn't even want to come on this trip.
Right. Again, why are we doing this?
Right.
It starts to make me think, I have a theory, that Juno is just trying to kill them all off.
She's just trying to take them out.
In a tragic...
She works with the cavemen.
We never see her die. Yeah. We never see her die.
Oh.
And I've never seen The Descent Part 2, but I think she is in it. So.
Do you know that for a fact?
I don't know. But I think she might be. Well, I say this because there was another scene. So, like, shit breaks bad, okay? Like, things don't go well. The creatures end up showing up. I'm not going to get into a bunch of the minutia about it. Right. But eventually, the creatures show up and the women do the stupidest thing you can do when you get, like, attacked by a thing, which is split up and make yourselves even more vulnerable,
right?
Because they don't know what it is and they immediately all panic and scatter and go into different directions when they could have just, I don't know, stuck in one group and then just like tried to fight things off. I say this knowing that like when Beth does try to do this and come back to get Juno, she does get, spoiler, a fucking climbing pick through her neck.
Yeah, Juno has just fought one of these things, so she's all on high alert, and then Beth walks up behind her, and she immediately turns around and kills her.
Yeah, and it was, maybe, an accident.
You are so... Alright, side... Curtis is infuriating to watch things with because you always presume intent, and it's like, whatever happened to people just being, I don't know, stupid, I don't know, selfish? Like,
yeah, she's stupidly and selfishly taking her friends into this cave so that she can kill them off.
Yes, of course.
So nobody tells Sarah about the affair.
So that was the subtext of this whole movie, was that Juno's actually a criminal mastermind.
I clocked it.
It was clearly an accident.
Yeah. No, I don't.
I
think the jury's still out on that one, actually.
No. It was clearly an accident.
Yes, it was an accident.
What wasn't an accident is that instead of, like, doing anything to like comfort her or try to help her. Clearly she's gonna die, but you could have at least had some humanity, and instead she just like walks away from Beth and leaves her bleeding out, which is fucked up.
Yeah, Beth is like, blood coming out of her
literally
neck,
gushing out of her neck,
and like raspily gasping like,
don't leave me. It's heartbreaking.
It is heartbreaking. And then, you know, Juno leaves. But this happened, and later, like during the movie, we were like talking about like, you know, the women getting taken out by these creatures, and you had said like, oh, they got Beth too, and I was like, we never saw her die on screen. The last thing we saw was her saying, don't leave me, and then it cut. And then it was like, 30 seconds later, when he said this, we see like her body slammed down.
Yep.
She wasn't, to be fair, she wasn't dead.
She wasn't dead. She was close to
She was extremely close to dying. Like, I don't think I could have timed it out better, like, if I had, like, planned it. This is really funny. She could slam down. I was like, oh, okay, well, there she is.
No, it was funny because I remember you saying, like, you know, well, Beth isn't dead. And in the way you said it made it sound like, oh, in the final act, like, Beth is gonna come back.
That's what I was leading up to, was that she's gonna have somehow, like, stuffed the wound with, like, moths. Yes. And she can't talk anymore.
She's fashioned a bone knife.
And she's like wearing one. Like, she's gonna come back and she's gonna be like, ah!
Yes.
Or whatever. See her just get thrown down in like the bone pit or whatever, and I was like, oh, well, she is gonna die.
Right.
But
oh, I also do want to shout out this bone pit. Like, so obviously they're in this whole cave system and everything, but the creatures have this, like, I guess kind of you could call it like their den or something where they bring all their food.
Yeah.
And it's a mixture of like animals and human bones and all this stuff.
Yeah.
But it's like this gross, just, it's bones as far as the eye can see, and like basically a lake of blood.
The lake of blood was one of the funniest things in this movie to me, because Sarah is like, she's like come to terms with what she's got to do here.
Yes.
And she's, you know, very quickly adapted to like full on survival mode. Right. And I think it is sparked by, she ends up having to kill as a kindness.
Yes.
She ends up killing Beth.
She has a final conversation with Beth as Beth is dying.
Yeah.
And this is also when Beth tells Sarah, you shouldn't trust Juno.
Yeah.
She's lied to you, and she reveals that she was having the affair with the husband.
Yeah, and her kind of proof to this, not necessarily to the affair, but like a little bit of it. I mean, I guess it's supposed to symbolize the proof of the affair, but also the proof that Juno shouldn't be trusted, specifically in this cave right now. When Beth does initially get hit by Juno, Beth like grabs onto this necklace that Juno is wearing, and it tears off of Juno, and it's this like feather, I think.
Yeah.
And on the back of it, it says like "love each day,"
right?
Which is a phrase that Sarah's husband said.
Right. Earlier in the movie, Sarah sets the stage for that by being like, it was something he would always say.
Yeah. And so she gets this off of Juno, and it's a recognizable piece of jewelry, although
she always wears.
Yeah, that she always wears. Although I don't know that anybody else knew that the little saying was on the back of it.
No, they wouldn't have. Otherwise, it would have been the reveal.
It would have been like extremely obvious. Anyway, so Beth gives this to Sarah. Sarah kills Beth because she's going to die anyway, and she doesn't want her to be alive while whatever. So she crushes her head in with a rock. Terrible. It's actually pretty brutal.
It's honestly
and like
horrible.
Really sad.
And the whole time I'm just like, damn, this girl is traumatized.
Yeah, no, I don't know that any amount of therapy is gonna.
She ain't coming back from this.
But I think that moment specifically is like what sparks the like.
Yeah, she goes like full on.
Yeah.
Fucking.
She gets crazy eyes, and I mean it in the best possible way. Like her literally, and I think this is great acting. her entire like body language changes after this scene.
She's a lot more like deliberate and confident.
Yes. And like but to get to like the Lake of Blood thing, she's like trying to like get away from the area that she's in, and she ends up getting in the blood lake thing, and she's like kind of moving through it, and then one of these creatures that is already in the blood lake comes up and grabs her while she's in it, which just means the thing was waiting underneath the lake. But how?
It was just chilling.
Am I supposed to believe they can breathe under blood?
Well, you don't know that, do you?
No, I don't. They didn't explain it.
Well,
but none of the other ones do it, so...
Well, they only have one blood lake. It's not that big.
True.
They can't all get in there at once. It'd be crowded.
But anyway, it was really silly just seeing him come up out of the blood, and I'm like, what? Yeah. Where did he come from? But anyway, there was a really cool scene. This is all like back to back with her, where she's like, she gets out of the blood and she climbs up onto this little mound, and she just like kind of like lays and like freezes in one spot, and then one of these things comes up like walking on all fours and puts its hand like on her head, but it doesn't realize it's her because again they can't see, right? And it's just like it's so creepy and weird.
It's one of those tense moments of like he's right there.
He's
like,
literally holding her head.
Yeah.
But doesn't, realize that she's alive or whatever. Anyway, this all like comes to a head eventually where like Sarah meets back up with Juno, and they're the only two left alive because all the other women get killed off in some way. Yeah. I don't remember which one it is. I think it's the doctor one that ends up having, I think one of the more memorable deaths.
You say as you're trying to remember.
No, I remember the death is what I'm saying. That's the other ones that I don't remember. I actually remember this one specifically. I can't remember if she was a doctor. I think or a med student. I think is more accurate because she gets her hands burned from the rope earlier in the movie for a different thing. But she's like trying to get across this thing.
Yeah, there's like a big chasm. She's trying to get from one tunnel to another tunnel, but there's a huge chasm in between that goes like who knows how far down, basically. Yeah. And she doesn't have the proper equipment.
She like panic tries to get across because like they're being chased, and she's like, I gotta get across this thing. So she goes to start to do it, and then one of these things jumps on her while she's like halfway across the thing, and she ends up, I think, stabbing it with a knife, and it falls off of her, but I think it also cuts her throat when this happens, and so she's just on this rope, just kind of like splayed out, just like...
It's real sad.
Yeah, it's crazy looking.
Yeah, it's awful. But, Sarah and Juno, like, hook back up, and Sarah doesn't immediately, like, show her hand. Yeah. So they kind of work together briefly to, try to get out, and really like the creature violence ramps up significantly. Like when they first see them, it's just like one or two, and then you quickly realize like no, there are like
there's like a whole society of these things. Yeah.
And so they have kind of a badass back-to-back action sequence of them just clobbering some dudes.
There was like a bunch of them that jumped the two of them, and they just like they go crazy.
Yeah, it was pretty wild. Yeah. But the big moment is after they have killed off these people that were attacking them. Sarah kind of confronts Juno by basically revealing the necklace.
Yeah, she dangles the necklace from her hand.
Which tells her, I know you killed Beth, and I know you fucked my husband, you bitch, basically. Yeah. And then, very badass, she doesn't kill Juno, but she uses the pickaxe and drives it through Juno's knee, basically disabling Juno and leaving her more or less defenseless because there's more of these things coming. And then Sarah's just like, bye, and skitters away into the night.
Yep. Yeah.
Which it was very much a good for her moment. Because fuck Juno.
Juno sucks. Yeah. But we don't know that she actually dies. We hear her screaming. Mm-hmm. It's very likely she dies.
Yeah,
because there's a lot of them. But maybe
in your world, mm-hmm. they actually were they lifted up Juno as the princess of their society.
Actually, pretty close to what I was gonna say. I was gonna say one of the first ones to charge her in the final thing when you see like all of them closing in on her and she's like ready to go or whatever. The first one to charge, because he's a good leader, is the leader of society. She gets a critical hit.
Right.
You know, mirroring back to when she hits Beth. She kills that one. The other one's stopping. They're like, oh, what do we do? And she's like, I'm the captain now.
Yeah.
And then they lift her up and she becomes the leader of their society.
Yes.
And then the second movie is more of a, I think like a rom-com vibe where they're trying to like get Sarah, but Sarah like hooks up with some like, fast talking dude from New York or something like that.
Right.
So.
And is Sarah still in the cave or?
No, Sarah got out.
So it's not about the cave. It's just Sarah's love story.
Yeah.
Okay.
But Juno's coming because she's she's alive.
Oh Lord, she coming.
Yeah. She's healed up.
She's impregnated by one of these cavemen.
Whoa, that's crazy.
And she's having a cave baby.
Yeah. Everywhere she goes, because they can't fix her knee. Mm-hmm. She's like, they've formed kind of a movable throne of these creatures where they like skitter around, where she kind of like rides
Meredith
on them.
from Grey's Anatomy.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
But no, towards the ending of this movie is one of the coolest shots of the entire movie, and maybe like one of the cooler shots just like in horror movies that I've seen. Mm-hmm. It's when Sarah is like actually about to get out. There's daylight coming through this crack in the surface, I guess, of the cave, and she's at the bottom, and it's creating this like beam of sunlight kind of coming down, and everything else is pitch black except for Sarah and this like hill of bones that she is clawing up to get to the surface. It's a really, really cool shot, just like as a still.
Yep.
And in a vacuum of everything else, it's really cinematically, it's very cool. The actual ending of this movie in the US version is stupid.
Yeah, so the original ending is a little bit different. In the original ending, Sarah gets out of the cave, she makes it to her car, and she does have an experience where she like sees a ghost version of Juno, but then she wakes up and she's still in the cave. Mm-hmm. So it's a very bleak ending of like, they kind of leave it up to your interpretation, but the implication is that she didn't get out either. And they did like test this with American audiences, and I guess they made some changes because American audiences didn't respond well to how like bleak the ending was. Like they wanted it to be not necessarily a happy ending, but to have that like triumph of she got away.
Yeah, like a more clear path for it.
So in the US version, which is the only one I've ever seen, I don't know how I would get access to the original version. Maybe it's out there somewhere, but I've never seen it. But she does get out, and she gets to the car, and she's sobbing, and she's going down the road, and she pulls over, and she vomits. And then when she looks back up, there's like ghost Juno in the passenger seat, and it's like, oh, she's haunted forever now.
Yeah.
Which I don't love the Juno jump scare.
I think it's stupid.
I think it kind of cheapens what is otherwise a really good movie.
Well, I think it cheapens it, and it's stupid because it comes out of left field. It has nothing to do with any other part of the movie that is like even remotely close to it.
Like we haven't seen her have like hallucinations or anything.
The closest we get is that 2 other times during the movie, and one is immediately following the traumatic thing at the beginning, and then another is when she wakes up in the cave while she's kind of unconscious. She's having this weird like dream of like a birthday celebration for her daughter. And then she wakes up every single time. Which to my understanding in the non-US ending of it, that happens again.
Yeah, at the end, she's in the darkness.
Yeah.
And she has that same vision.
Yeah.
But then the crawlers are, like, coming.
Yeah. And, like, that's the closest we get to it, but even in those other two hallucinations, again, in the US version only because we haven't seen the other one, like, it's not a ghost. It's not...
No.
It's not, like, creepy. Like, her daughter doesn't have, like, a weird bloody face or anything like that. Like, it's creepy in the sense that, like...
response.
But it's, like, a trauma response thing. So, Juno showing up as, like, this weird black eyes ghost thing, all
green
bloody...
filter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just tonally so different than anything else in the movie that it kind of sucks, because it's just, like, it's one last extremely cheap jump scare.
Right.
For no other reason than to just be a weird, cheap jump scare.
Right. Yeah.
You know?
So, yeah, I would say this movie would probably be better overall.
Yeah.
With a different ending, or at least, even if they wanted to create the suggestion that, like, what happened in the cave and what she did to Juno is going to haunt her, quote unquote, I think there was probably another way to portray that wasn't quite so cheesy.
Yeah.
Especially the effects of it. I really don't like the look
the
of Juno.
effect of it is probably the worst part. Like, I can forgive a lot of last second jump scares of, like, come to expect it in, like, virtually any US horror movie.
Right.
There's always one right at the end. It never, ever gets me.
Yeah.
Because I just
expect
it. Like,
You're
it's
braced.
coming. But,
yeah.
But, you know, it's there. And, like, to a degree, I'm just like, if they're gonna do it, then just, like, make it good. You know what I mean? Like, because then at least whatever.
Right.
But I don't know. Anyway. So that little I mean, like, a minute maybe of the movie sucks. The rest of it is actually really good.
It's a really good movie. Yeah. I genuinely like it. I will say, when I first saw the movie, I went into it blind and I didn't know that there were creatures. All I had was the same kind of ominous thing that we had in the little plot summary of, like, they may not be alone. So I had some idea that maybe they were going to encounter something, but I didn't know what it was going to be.
Yeah.
You know, it could have been poltergeists for all I knew. So going into it totally blind was super cool. But I think it's a testament to the movie that even if you know that plot twist and you know that that's coming, it's still really effective and really scary.
Yeah, it is really effective. And again, I think they do a really, really good job of making the fact that they are in a cave system and something goes wrong basically as scary as the creatures. The creatures get introduced as almost a secondary thing.
Yeah. It's kind of like, oh, great.
Which then overtakes the fact that they're trapped, you know? Because now there's a thing actively coming after them.
Right, and it's not just like, oh, we're gonna, you know, fucking starve to death.
Yeah. Yeah. But genuinely, I really liked it. I would watch it again. It's very entertaining.
It's a good one.
Let's rate it really quick, and then we can do our scariest moment.
Sounds good.
Pull up my information. So generally, like I said, really good movie. The lowest it got for me is a 7, and that was in performances. So, you know, pretty solid work. I think there was some stuff like the one friend who their connection to the US, that because they had, like, moved there, because they're all British,
right?
And one of them, I don't remember her name, the character's name, or the actress's name for that matter. Holly, that's right. Had moved to the US, so, like, she had been living there for a while. So there were, like, some things like that where I'm just like, some of these are, like, they're just, like, weird, you know? Like, the acting is just not super great or whatever.
Sure.
But, like, for the most part, like, in the caves, really good. Scares, I think, is fine. If you don't like blood, stay away from this one because it's pretty bloody.
Yeah.
Like, there's actually a fair bit of blood and gore in this one.
Honestly, I feel like the bigger thing would be if you have, like, claustrophobia, this movie will fuck you up.
That is, I think, the bigger thing is, like, the claustrophobia of it is pretty intense.
Yeah.
You know, I think one of the only... No, this one is actually worse. We really like As Above, So Below, and there is a scene in that one, we've talked about it on here, where they have to, like, squeeze through a really narrow thing. And as much as I like that movie, that claustrophobic scene doesn't have the same feeling as this movie's entire, like, cave thing has. Like, I think it's probably because in The Descent, we spend more time with the characters in the cave before like anything really goes wrong off, and like but we also have the context that this is a horror movie, so like it's building and you know something's gonna happen, you just don't know what. So it is kind of unsettling and upsetting, I suppose. But everything else, like it's really entertaining. I gave it an 8.5 in entertainment. I'd watch it again. It's really good.
Yep, definitely. Yeah, I think I find it to be scary. I find the survival horror to be the scariest part.
Yeah.
And I gave it a 7 in performances. One thing that I liked, this is both a compliment to the performances but also to the writing, is I thought that they acted, like, the characters acted in a very realistic human way in a, like, survival scenario.
Yeah.
Because, like, when it's revealed that Juno took them to this uncharted cave system, like, they're upset and they're angry and, like, they tell her off and people are obviously emotional and scared and pissed off.
Yeah.
But they continue to work together because what else would you do?
Yeah.
And it's one of the things I appreciate about this is that they do stay together until all,
right, well, basically until they get attacked by a thing, and that's,
right, and they all scatter. But I hate it in horror movies when they'll just arbitrarily have a character that's like just a super high-strung bitch for no reason, who's like, oh, you took me to the wrong cave? Well, I'm gonna scooch myself through that hole over there, and you guys aren't allowed to come.
Yep.
And I'm like, why on earth would you do that?
Yep.
This is a life or death situation.
Yep.
So I thought that acting and writing was particularly well done, and they were obviously dealing with a lot of like complex relationships where a lot of things were unsaid, and I thought it was portrayed well with the characters.
Yeah.
So I liked the performances, and I thought it all made sense.
Yeah, overall I think it does. It works really, really well. I think there's another scene where Holly ends up breaking her leg. Mm-hmm. Because I think she's rushing ahead. Yeah,
that's a theme with her. She keeps rushing ahead, and especially as she gets more panicked, she's just like...
and frustrated and everything. She's like, I just want to get out of here.
So she ends up rushing ahead, and she thinks that she sees a possible exit, but she's not paying attention, and she falls. There's like a hole in the cave system, so she falls down, and like this leg is broke, like freaking bones sticking up.
And then everyone else like has to like work together to like reset her leg, and then they're like carrying her through the caves and everything.
Right.
And so
again, they're all doing it without a thought, because in a survival situation, that's what you do.
Yeah, exactly. It wasn't the like weirdly over dramatized thing where like they all just collectively decide, well, I guess we're leaving her behind,
right? Or one or two people are like, forget this,
they all act with like deep concern,
right,
to make sure that she gets out, kind of a thing.
Because of course you would.
And so again, like you said, I think it is a testament of, and to the writers and the actors in the movie, that like it makes sense and feels feels like how you would actually do it. I've seen way too many paranormal things where like a very similar thing happens, and then like one character at least immediately is just like, and then they run off by themselves.
They're like, I'm getting out of here, and everyone's like, you're gonna, but the whole premise of the movie is that there's a curse on the door, and if you cross the threshold you die, and they're like, I don't care,
and then they immediately get killed. It starts to become this, like, it's a trope, I guess,
right,
but it starts to become just like this thing that they just arbitrarily have happen so that they can just get a character isolated out, so they can just kill him. We can get to the killing part. Anyway, but overall my average for the movie was a 7.8.
Mine was a 7.5,
which brings us to a 7.7, I think. So pretty
7.7.
Also not very horny.
Not very. I gave it a 52 just only because of the subtext that there was an affair.
So that's a 52.
Yeah.
Okay.
And also, I mean, the cavemen.
No. In what way? They literally have like weird vomit spit. We know they're making
babies because there was a kid.
Yeah, but they got weird vomit spit.
They're doing freaky
it looks like
stuff
jelly
down there in the blood lake.
It looks like if you...
They're making babies.
No. I mean, yes, but...
it's there. The subtext... You have to sort of think about it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not immediately horny, but it's... But there are horny elements.
Right.
That are understood.
Sure. Like getting through caves.
Yeah. Like making little cave babies.
Sure.
And they're not wearing clothes.
That's true. They're not wearing clothes.
Because why would they? Clothes.
Because why would they? Mm-hmm. You know, they don't need those.
Their society's just a little different.
It's a little different.
They do things a little different.
Anyway, what was your scariest?
My scariest moment... I think genuinely, and I wouldn't be surprised if most people agree, but the scariest moment to me is that one narrow tunnel that they have to go through right before the cave collapses, where we see Holly go through first and she's all like, yeah, it's fine, it's a little tight, but you can do it. And the whole time, again, because you have the context that it's a horror movie and you know things are about to go horribly wrong, so not only do you feel claustrophobic because of their acting, but you're kind of holding your breath because you're waiting for the other shoe to drop the whole time, but each of them going through that super tight passage, and then Sarah having the panic attack that just felt like that would be me in that scenario. I would be the one having the panic attack. Yeah. So I don't think I took a breath that whole scene.
I agree. I think far and away the scariest scenes in this movie are nothing to do with the creatures. Mm-hmm. The creatures just become a background thing.
Yeah.
And it is when they have to squeeze through that tunnel, the first gap that they come across.
Yeah.
That they have to,
go across. Super tense.
The whole... I can't remember who the first one is that goes across. It's not Juno. Juno intentionally is the last one that goes across.
It's Rebecca. It's one of the sisters.
Yeah. She goes across. But, like, that whole scene of her going across and finding the old...
Yeah.
Piton, I don't know, climbing stuff or whatever. Little things.
Piton.
Yeah, piton. Stuck into the rock. And then, like, kind of this little mystery being, like... somebody would have had to have been here for that to be there, but like that whole tension thing. So and then to a little bit lesser of an extent, but like the idea that they only have so many supplies and they're like running out of them, and what happens, Holly's broken her leg, what happens if we come across another thing, and how do we and again, like, it's like there's a version of this movie that could exist where there are no creatures and it is just them trying to like survive and get through this cave system, and like eventually enough of them fall and break an arm, or somebody just like loses it, or runs off and gets stuck in a way that they can't get them out, and that is equally as terrifying. Definitely. Because I find in horror movies that the stuff that is more based in like reality is the scariest stuff, because it's the stuff you can most easily imagine actually happening. It's like in original Hellraiser, like the whole Cenobites and the chains coming out and stuff, and him being up in the attic and being a weird flesh guy. None of that's particularly like scary to me, but the scene where they're trying to bring the couch in or whatever, and he hits his hand on the nail and it pulls it, and I mean, like, it's kind of a it's a practical effect and it doesn't look super great, but just imagining that happening, like, and it's like, it's that like that feeling anytime they're just dealing with the cave, and there's not a creature around,
Yep. Absolutely.
So it's really good. I genuinely think you should watch it. It's rightfully, I think, on the list of like 100 best horror movies. I think it is like considered one of the best horror movies of the 2000s.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I feel like it was, especially when you put it in its time and place, coming out in 2005.
Yeah.
At least in terms of what US, major motion pictures, I know this is a British horror film, but what we had available to us, like in the early 2000s, and I say this with love because it's an era that I feel nostalgic for, but we had a lot of remakes. We had a lot of J-horror American remakes. We had, a lot of like just kind of vapid horror movies. Not to say that there weren't other things that were coming out that were original concepts and interesting, because there were, but...
Saw anyone?
Hello. But I think this is like it's just a breath of fresh air. It's something that's very different, and there aren't a lot of other movies that I can think of that elicit the same emotions,
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, like, I don't really get that same feeling from most, like, paranormal movies, and I think this movie is very successful in that, like, oh, this is just, like, a real thing that can happen to people.
Right.
And now there's also monsters that are trying to kill them. Monsters. Yeah.
For real.
But I think that's all.
Yeah, it's pretty much all I have to say.
Yeah, so if you wanted to get in touch with us, let us know what you think about The Descent, or tell us to watch The Descent Part 2.
Yeah, what should we watch next? You can connect with us at our email, which is firstfrightpod@gmail.com. You can also find us on Instagram and X. It's at firstfrightpod. Or we have our Facebook page, Love at First Fright. So you can drop us a line and let us know, what did you think about this movie? Mm-hmm. And is The Descent Part 2 about Juno taking over the society? Tell us.
I think we know the answer.
And it's...
Yes.
No.
No, it is.
And it's...
It's that Juno
set it all
was
up.
Framed by Beth.
Oh, shit.
It's a triple twist.
Whoa!
You have to watch the second one to get that. It doesn't...
Yeah, and that's actually only in the Indonesian version.
Oh! It's international.
Yeah.
No, the second one is Sarah gets a new group of friends, and they also want to go explore a cave.
Yeah.
And they go to this cave, and Juno is there. But it's not the same cave, it's a different cave. Whoa. Juno got out and is she's thriving. Yeah. No, she's exists normally in society.
So
she's kind of like mature and just like, you know what? I deserve that.
Yeah.
And she's kind of moved on with her life. And then they meet in the cave, and then this cave has other creatures that are trying to kill them, and then Sarah and Juno square up. Mm-hmm. But what's that? Beth's there. She's alive. She actually became the princess of the society.
Okay.
And she's united the tribes.
Oh.
So there's all of the continents are connected through a connected series of tunnels so they can get to where they need to go.
Right.
Yeah.
I'd watch it.
It's pretty cool, Write
us the check. We'll make it happen.
Yep. Blumhouse.
I love how we're this tiny podcast that like 8.5 people listen to, and we're like, I'm fucking big Blumhouse, can lick my nuts.
I hate Blumhouse. Make good movies and I'll stop the hate.
I'll be back on your side once you make a good movie.
I don't I don't want to get into it.
We're gonna get upset.
No, I'm already upset.
Yeah.
They bought Saw.
And we're mad about it.
I don't know how I feel about it, because they're saving it, but also, are they?
Yeah. Anyway, we should probably wrap this bad boy up.
Yeah, this was a good one.
Yeah, this is a good one.
As always, scare well, and see you next time.
Bye-bye.
And don't go in caves. You don't have to do it.
Especially if you just, got engaged or had a baby or something, got a promotion, your life's going great.
If you do have a major life change, don't do things.
Don't celebrate in a cave.
Yeah, don't do that. That's literally that is asking for something to go wrong.
Exactly.